Hello! Join us as we explore some of the most iconic planes of World War II. World War II, a global conflict that spanned from 1939 to 1945, saw the rise of unprecedented technological advancements. And perhaps none were more transformative than the aircraft that dominated the skies. From dogfights over Europe to strategic bombings over the Pacific, the planes of World War II played a decisive role in determining the outcome of the war. In this film, we will explore the iconic aircraft that shaped the course of history. In the early years of the war, aircraft technology was advancing rapidly. But the planes used were often a mix of old designs and innovative new concepts. The conflict's beginning was marked by a stark contrast between nations in terms of air power. Germany's Luftwaffe, under the leadership of Hermann Göring, had some of the most advanced aircraft at the time of the war's outbreak. Among the most notable was the Messerschmitt Bf 109, introduced in 1937. The Bf 109 was a versatile, fast, and agile fighter that served as the backbone of Germany's air force. It was used throughout the war, adapting to new roles, from air superiority to ground attack. The Bf 109 was highly effective in the early stages of the war, particularly during the Battle of Britain in 1940. Its speed and maneuverability made it a formidable opponent to the British Spitfires and Hurricanes. Another famous German aircraft was the Junkers Rhu-87 Stuka. Known for its terrifying screaming dive, the Stuka was designed for precision ground attack. Its impact on early war tactics was undeniable, but its vulnerability to enemy fighters became apparent as the war progressed. Across the English Channel, the British were developing their own answer to the Luftwaffe's aerial might. The Supermarine Spitfire is the legendary World War II fighter that really shows off the RAF's toughness and spirit. The Spitfire, with its sleek elliptical wings, was built for speed and agility. These traits turned it into a real powerhouse during dogfights, making it a tough opponent. During the Battle of Britain in 1940, it was instrumental in repelling the German bombing raids. Another crucial aircraft in the RAF's arsenal was the Hawker Hurricane. Though not as glamorous as the Spitfire, the Hurricane was perhaps more important in terms of numbers, as it downed more enemy aircraft during the Battle of Britain than any other fighter. Now over to France. Even though it was about to be overrun by Germany, France had a small but pretty capable air force ready to take on the challenges at the start of the war. The De Woyten D-520 was a notable French fighter, which, though outclassed by the Bf 109, was highly maneuverable and capable in combat. Now, on the Eastern Front, the Soviet Union's Ilyushin Il-76 became one of the most feared ground attack aircraft of the war, designed to withstand significant damage. The Il-2 was often referred to as the flying tank. It was heavily armored, allowing it to survive intense anti-aircraft fire while delivering devastating attacks on German infantry and armored units. As the war continued, aircraft technology advanced rapidly. The introduction of new bombers and fighter planes would change the course of the war, particularly in the skies over the Pacific and Europe. On the other side of the Atlantic, the United States became a major player in the air war. The P-51 Mustang, one of the most successful fighters of the war, played a pivotal role in the European theater, equipped with long-range capabilities. The P-51 was primarily used for escorting bombers deep into enemy territory. Its exceptional performance and range made it a game-changer, helping to ensure the success of Allied bombing campaigns against German industry. Supporting the P-51 was the Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress, an iconic American heavy bomber. The Boeing B-17 was a four-engine heavy bomber developed in the 1930s for the United States Army Air Corps. It became one of the most iconic bombers of World War II, known for its durability, defensive armament, and strategic bombing capabilities. The B-17 was a game-changer in the Allied bombing raids over Germany. Even with all the losses from German fighters, the B-17 dropped more bombs than any other aircraft during World War II, contributing significantly to the Allied strategic bombing campaign. Its reputation for survivability was reinforced by stories of heavily damaged aircraft returning safely to base, ensuring these experienced aircrews could fight again. Now, moving on to the Pacific Theater, Japan's air forces were initially dominant, with the Mitsubishi A6M0 being one of the most feared aircraft of the early war. With its lightweight design and exceptional maneuverability, the Zero outclassed many Allied fighters in the early stages of the war. However, as the war progressed, The Allied forces began developing better tactics and new aircraft to counter the Zero's advantages. Another notable Japanese aircraft was the Nakajima Ki-43 Oscar, a highly maneuverable fighter that saw action in many theaters of the war. While it lacked the long-range capabilities of the Zero, it was a capable dogfighter. As the war neared its end, both the Allies and Axis powers introduced increasingly advanced aircraft. The final years of the war would see new technological innovations from jet engines to the dawn of the supersonic age. One of the most groundbreaking advancements in aviation came from Germany with the development of the Messerschmitt Me-262, the world's first operational jet fighter. Though it arrived too late to turn the tide of the war, the Me-262 was a technological marvel with speeds far exceeding those of Allied piston engine fighters. Mechanical issues and poor planning really held back the Me-262's potential impact. On the Allied side, the Lockheed P-80 Shooting Star was the first American jet fighter to see combat, marking the beginning of the jet age for the U.S. Although the P-80 saw limited action in World War II, it would go on to become a major part of the U.S. Air Force's post-war air superiority. So now we know, aircraft in World War II evolved from propellers to jets, totally changing history forever. Their legacy lives on in the technological advancements they inspired, in the lives they touched, and in the strategies that shaped the modern world. World War II skies weren't just battlefields. They were where air warfare really took shape for the future. We hope you enjoyed this short dive into some of the most iconic planes of World War II. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.